Hi, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we've had a busy day today. I already did a video covering most of what we did today. It's a 3-hour trip to go to Tagbilaran from where we are, and our little truck is not really up to those hill climbs. We go a shortcut, which does take some time off the main part. Plus on the shortcut, which goes around the mountains, the road is actually really good, except for just 2 spots now, and they're going to be fixed very, very soon. So it's an enjoyable drive as long as you don't get behind that big truck, which actually I know for a fact is has a camera fitted outside our house. It's a camera that tells them when we are going to go on that shortcut, and they park that truck there ready so that just before we enter the shortcut they can crank that sucker up and poodle along at 15 miles an hour going up those hills, and you can't get past it. Pardon my little trip of paranoia there. Of course it doesn't happen. But then we get into Tagbilaran. Tagbilaran is an absolute nightmare of traffic, and when we got there today we had McDonald's, and then Desiree, instead of putting Desiree in the back, which is where she likes to sit when we go up there, she sits in the back voluntarily because she said she has a nosebleed if she sits in the front with me. The nosebleed is where a Filipino forgets how well that he or she speaks English and starts pretending that they can't speak it, which of course most Filipinos actually speak much better English than they think. So she did sit in the front from McDonald's up to the hospital, which we're in the traffic, and of course we're lost because Beth has a love-hate relationship with the GPS, and she's in the back of the truck and she's looking through the window. And we've already agreed that this will be straight on, and that will be to the right, and this will be to the left. Anyway, all of that goes out the window because as soon as she gets in the back and starts squabbling with the GPS, it's all this. And of course I can't tell what the hell she's actually telling me what to do. But what was funny was Desiree and I were sitting in the front, and I happened to look, and on the back of every tricycle, of which there are a gazillion of them in Tagbilaran, on the back is always a biblical quotation. See? So there we are, and we're lost, and we're looking for the hospital, and it's the Ramiro hospital that we're going to, and I'm saying, well, we just got to look for the hospital. So then we look down at the tricycle that's in front of us, a tricycle taxi, okay. And on the back it's got a quotation on there that from the Bible saying, "Seek and you will find." Just after that we spotted the hospital, which was funny enough. Well, that tricycle disappeared and another one took its place, overtaken on the inside, which is totally okay, overtaken on the inside, and then another one following right behind him when they stop, and they stopped pretty sharp, and the one that's behind bangs into the one that's at front and rear ends him, and the guy looks at the back like this. He doesn't look very pleased, but the Bible quotation that he has on the back and I'm paraphrasing now because I can't remember exactly what it says, but it says, you must forgive. So of course he didn't get out and have a look at the damage. He just forgave and got on with the job. But it was funny to see that. Well, anyway, we got to the hospital, and everything went quite well there. And we got to another hospital on the way home, because we were going to check on what the situation was with the cancer lady, because it's difficult to. I know that we shouldn't really be. I feel we shouldn't really be taking on cases on which there is very little of success for us to be able to do it. Just the two of us trying to do this on our own. It really needs an ambulance to come and pick that lady up, and then take the big ferry and ship her in to Cebu. But that's not going to happen any more than it would happen if you were in America. You know, that they wouldn't do that for you in America either, unless you were heavily insured up to the gills. Well, anyway, we decided that we'd go in, and I with my Western logic, I said, Beth, what is it that makes you think that we'll be able to just march in there and speak to the doctor about what should be done? And she said, well, we're just... And this is where you come into the Filipino, a Filipino way of thinking. Well, we're going to go into a hospital, and the hospital specializes. It has one department which deals with cancer patients, and when we get in there, it's like shoulder deep in these patients. And I said to Beth, what? She said, we're waiting for the secretary, and the secretary had just gone into this other room. I said, Beth, why would you think that we could just come in here in front of all of these other people and just march in and speak to the doctor? And she said, well, we'll just see. Now, this is a kind of optimism that probably could move mountains. But then when we go up to she goes up to the girl who is the heavily overworked, completely overwhelmed secretary, who's trying to process all of these people, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the whole thing is just packed to the seams with people, all waiting to see the doctor, and we've just marched in. So she speaks to the secretary, and then she comes back, and I said, well, we should just go home. So she said, well, we just wait for a number, we'll wait and see. And then I waited, and then I went up and I spoke to her after she'd spoken to the secretary, and she's still standing there. And I said, so what is happening? You know, it's 2 o'clock. So she said, well, she gave us a number. I said, and what's the number? And she said, 40. We're number 40 for seeing the doctor. I said, okay, well, what number is he seeing right now? And she said, number 2. So I said, I want to go home. I felt like a big kid. I want to go home, Mummy. But anyway, we left. Now, why is it important to go home and get that done? Because Desiree lives quite away from the road like we do. And you can't get a truck down there because it goes in between where the path is extremely narrow like ours used to be, and there are crops on either side which, you know, cannot be disturbed. So Desiree has to hire a neighbour who has a motorcycle, and she goes on the back of the motorcycle because she really is, her limbs are really so weak that she literally can't walk. She manages to get around with that walking frame, but she can't really walk. So the doctor was very funny, actually, a great sense of humour, an attractive lady, doctor, neurologist, and she asked a few questions, and then she said, are you married? And it turns out that she's been together with her husband for like 3 years. So the doctor did her rough maths and said, but this thing happened in 2010, yes? Yes, says Desiree. So she said, and do you have any children? And Desiree says, yes. Says, how old is your child? And Desiree says, I think it was 2. So the doctor is in disbelief. She said, so you conceived the child when you were virtually paralyzed. How did you deliver the child? Were you in labour? And Desiree says, yes, it was a normal birth. So life is full of very confusing, contradictory things, because logically you would think that if someone was virtually paralyzed, how would they ever be able to deliver a child? And apparently she did. And it's a lovely little girl, completely normal in every way. What can you say? It teaches you not to be too judgmental too quick. Oh, well, she's never going to have a child, is she? She's got one. Or she's never going to have a fella, is she? She's got one. She's never going to be happy and cheerful, is she? She is. And she's really feisty, and she's got a great sense of humour, and laughs a lot, and is optimistic, and is determined. Well, the really great thing that the doctor said was, well, we'll have to get you those 2 tests, one for a cranial kind of scan of some kind, and then another one, an MRI, I think. And she gave her some tests of her own, took her blood, not her blood, she took her blood count and pulse and listened to her heart and her lungs and everything, and apparently all of that is quite good. So she said, well, you need to do some therapy, get out and do some exercise, and it's not so far. And when we said, well, she ran out, the doctor said, why did you stop? What made you stop when you had this happen? Why didn't you continue to do something? Well, apparently the doctor that she went to wasn't really very helpful. Like this doctor was really helpful. And when I said for Desiree, well, she ran out of funds, doctor, and she said, oh, why didn't she come and see me? I only charge 500 pesos, which 500 pesos is damn good. This neurologist is in great demand. Of the 3 hospitals that we went to, hers was the name that always comes up. So she's the man. So we made it home. We made it home before it got dark, which was the concern, and we dropped off Desiree, and I think we'll have to get some off-road tyres fitted on that wheelchair, because when we left, she was still in the wheelchair on the dirt path, waiting for the motorcyclist to come and bear her off like a knight in shining crash helmet. Well, that's all for now. Don't know what I started off talking about, but ended off with experiences. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.